going from tough game to tough game to tough game back to back to back. But they're going to face the one on Infernal Shrines now, which was their map choice. Let's see what they have in store for us this time.
Yeah. So, no matter what happens here, even if Soa wins this next one, they will still be 1 point behind the one. The one would have moved up to 7 points, Soa would have moved up to 6. This will also mean that no matter that if Soa don't win this, then they will move down a place, back into 5th place, because BTG, as we saw earlier, were able to 2-0 Sunny Lion, giving them 2 points, bringing them up to a grand total of 6. Meaning, once again, if Soa don't win, BTG will overtake them.
Alright, so quite a lot at stake here already, as time is getting shorter and shorter to make to have a strong season, or to have a strong season phase for the playoffs. Because once again, guys, just in case you aren't aware of how China works as a format, we have best of 2s, double round robin, which means each series is going to be played twice in one phase. And then at the end of the regular season, we're going to have a playoffs round. And the playoffs round is determined by how well you placed in the season. So let's say you placed last, you're not automatically kicked out of the league, but you're going to have such a run in the playoffs phase, fighting all the way up to, let's say, rank 6 or 7 or 5 to stay in the league, right? So the way it works is you have a game. Let's say you start as last place, you're playing 7th seed. If you win, you're facing 6th seed. If you win that, you're facing 5th seed, and so on and so forth, until all the way at the end, there's going to be that 1st seed waiting for you.
As Hanzo is picked up first by the one with Greymane banned out, they've done exactly what I said in the first game, and they have limited Sorry. Very clever.
Yeah, this is
Other
really
heroes,
cool.
I believe he's played a little bit of Tychus, which is pretty decent on this map. So this is not the worst scenario, but I will also check to see what else he's played.
Yeah, but this is definitely a target ban and a target pick against Sorry, as we said. One of the few players in the league that can actually be crippled tremendously in his hero pool, because the majority of games were played on Greymane, on the Hanzo, and I'm already more than intrigued to see what Sorry is now going to play now that 2 of his baby boys, the only 2 baby boys he had, are picked or banned away.
Yeah, you don't know the half of it. Would you like to know the entirety of Sorry's hero list this season?
Please go ahead and tell me. I would assume, by the way you phrased this question, that he hasn't played anything other than Greymane and Hanzo.
12 games on Greymane, 6 games on Hanzo, 1 game on Genji, and that's it.
Did he lose the Genji game?
He played this season.
Did he lose the Genji game?
Yes, he did.
Oh no, sorry, you're gonna be in a... Well, it's a good time to change the trend, that's for sure, to break the habit.
What it's a good time to do now for the one is to pick Genji and go with a Shemitah for the one. And just absolutely deny him.
Totally do it.
Give it to Meg. Yeah, it'll be great. It's not a wrong choice here.
Oh, that would be... I mean, double Shimada isn't really something we get to see every day, but it's certainly not terrible. And we all know what Meng is capable of doing on that hero, and then you pick it away from Sorry, which seemed to be the only hero potentially left in his arsenal, but they could still ban it now as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he has something else, but this is just all he's ever shown. So, slightly concerning. He has a negative win rate on Hanzo, winning only 2 out of the 6 games, 33% victory. Whereas Greymane, he's a 75% win rate, so very sensible that this explains why it's being banned so early by the one.
Yeah, the one definitely not sorry for picking and banning Sorry's heroes away here. Now, what are the second bans going... Oh, what? They even banned it themselves? They must have prepared something.
Yeah, then Sorry must have something we haven't seen. No matter what, this is going to be a first-time sight for whatever Sorry ends up playing.
Oh, and they take away what could be another hero for Sorry to fall back on, the Tychus here. I think the Tychus would actually make so much sense, because it is also one of the best counters towards the Garrosh. Diablo, though, I wouldn't hate it. I think Diablo needs to be respected in China. More and more flashy Diablo plays were made, especially by teams like SPT.
I'm okay with Diablo if they're just sensible drafting. If they want to be just terrible people, but very clever terrible people, I would prefer the Tychus. If they want to just limit the options. Ranged assassin choke.
Thing is, if they ban Diablo, they basically make sure that they no longer have to worry about tank shredding too much, because right now, Hanzo doesn't really have the greatest of tank shredding, right? True, he has the sharpened arrowheads, which takes armor away from the target, but the real tank shredding only arrives at level 16 if he wants to go for that. So with them maybe hovering over other assassins that won't have tank shredding either, I think it's safe to take away the beefiest of warriors in terms of health pool.
But Arthur's still a little bit difficult to deal with, but that can be solved via those sharpened arrowheads, which gives Arthur's a little bit more trouble, seeing as he has base physical armor, which is what makes him so tanky. And as we predicted, the Tychus is what we are going to see from Sorry.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure the one are going to be like, damn it, we should have probably thought of Tychus before, but maybe then the Diablo would have gone through instead of Arthas. And truth be told, they still can take a Malthael here. Hugo's pick hasn't really been shown yet, and he played a spectacular Malthael in the last game. He was utterly defeated and crushed at the Eastern Clash whenever he went on Malthael by the Korean teams. But in China, he seems to have a much easier time, understandably.
So what are their options here? Second tank likely. Garrosh can solo tank, but either a second bruiser or a second main tank to assist him, or at least follow up on his throws could be good, or just to give him more engaged capabilities like Tyrael could be the option here.
Malthael, that makes sense. And the Cassia. Now, the one, I do want to highlight this as well. The one is probably the most solo tank team that we have in the entirety of China. Very rarely do they have a secondary offlaner or a secondary melee tank. And whenever Hugo is forced to play that role, he normally doesn't shine as much, right? His Malthael has been going really well lately. His Illidan is crazy. His Leoric is probably the only exception to the rule here. So yeah, we never really see them with a double tank setup, or very rarely see them with a double tank setup compared to other teams. But they always seem to be able to make it work somehow.
So, some of you may be wondering why I'm currently not really angry at this Cassia. It was a reasonable pick until TY picked the Gul'dan, and TY picking the Gul'dan is the most appropriate pick they could have gone for here. But it's still vulnerable to the Garrosh, so they need to be careful about that. But honestly, Cassia against Sonya, against Arthas, she can ignore armor, she can do percentage damage later on, assuming that she doesn't get herself killed and potentially maybe even goes for a Q build to be able to kite Arthas. The Cassia is a pretty solid pick here.
The thing is, I'm not feeling the Cassia for two reasons here, and that is mostly because if she ever gets close to Arthas, she's basically a dead target because she can't run away. She has no mobility whatsoever. So I agree with you. I think the Thunderstroke build, the ranged poke build on the Q, should be her go-to to never even get threatened by this gap closer from Arthas. But I also think she's very vulnerable to the Sonya, whose damage mostly rely on abilities with the Seismic Slam. Wrath of the Berserker causes her to amplify her damage even more. So unless they can really protect the Cassia, and she won't get hit by Sonya, Arthas, and Gul'dan all the time, she's going to be in a rough spot, not really able to unfold her true potential, because she's always going to have to be on the move, right? So it could work, but I think it could also really backfire. But we're going to see which one holds truth as we dive into game number 2. On Infernal Shrines on the left-hand side, currently in the lead, 1-0. It is TheOne. With Hugo on the Malthael, Lucky on the Hanzo. Meng plays Cassia this time, ZJZ on Uther, and Hihi once again on this Garrosh, and he's been tearing things up in game number 1 on that hero already.
And on the right-hand side, looking to recover some points here, it's Soa with Fei on Sonya, Uncle G on Malfurion, TY on Gul'dan, Clog on Arthas, and Sorry playing on the Tychus for the first time on a broadcast live internet television.
Yeah, now this could very well become the bigger they are Tychus against a solo Garrosh, because you don't even need to land your minigun shots on any other targets. If you chunk down the Garrosh early on, he drops to 50, he drops to 40. That's going to take away some serious team fight potential from him. So against solo tanks, I would actually almost always go for the bigger they are. Already strong damage onto Hugo, getting demolished by 2 heroes at the same time. Strong anticipation by Soa.
Garrosh is actually an interesting hero in the fact that I would actually prefer in the rhythm, due to the fact that the first 50% of his health is the easiest bit to get off. That is the point of Garrosh. The first part of his health is sort of irrelevant. It's the last part of his health when he has all that armor, although speaking of Garrosh, he's just able to get a quick cheeky kill on TY, but it's the latter part of Garrosh's health that actually can really make a difference. So having minigun up for the max amount of time allows you to micro more effectively and continue to get that percentage damage value as
I totally agree with you. I think both talents have their merit, and In the Rhythm has another advantage here in the fact that if you get more minigun duration, it can also be used very effectively against Cassia, who can't block the extra percentage damage, which counts as ability percentage damage. And then, of course, also on the Tychus, if he gets into deep, once again, maybe with the Tormented Souls, you could really shut him down quite handsomely. So either way, no matter how Tychus decides to play it, he's going to be a very threatening hero that the One need to take care of. Oh my goodness, Henry, you're an absolute monster, by the way. Almost got the perfect body block on.
Yeah, TY lives this time, though. This time. As Sorry is also forced to back up in the top lane. He was also taking a little bit of harass there. But looks like they do survive. Also, I will say, I'm quite biased towards In the Rhythm because I'm a sucker for any talent that is infinite. Because infinite value, how can you not get value? But if you're bad and don't stack it well, is the answer to that question. Which is why we almost never see the serrated spines, I think is what it's called, from Zagara. Because it's really hard to stack, it takes a really long time.
Oh, it takes really long. And Zagara not really being played in the current meta anymore, although I would love for some team to rediscover her. It was actually how she was part of the meta a couple of months ago, right? When out of nowhere teams like Heroes Hearth now would play it. Teams in China would bust it out, teams like SBT, and they would demolish their foes who were not able to handle all that side pushing pressure. But now she's vanished again, only to maybe come up later if the meta shifts a little bit more towards her favor.
Sorry continues to work down the mercenary camp with the help of Fei. They're going to delay it very sensibly. We'll see if Malthael does the same as he's doing it for his side. Uther with an auto-attack build versus an Arthas, getting that Holy Fire, which is once again affected by auto-attacks, increasing its damage when you use them against heroes, and the Hammer of the Lightbringer.
All right, and I think it is in fact In the Rhythm. I think the golden tint.
Nope, that's bigger than the R.
Oh, that's the bigger there. Okay. So the silver one, I think, was In the Rhythm then.
That is correct.
It was a little tricky when two talents have the same icon and are only distinguished in colors. So here we go, a full-on team fight on the area shrine area, and Kwong already getting flung back actually into his own team's back line because he was not comfortable into initiating a team fight like that. Malthael up to this point hasn't actually participated, and yet with the help of Hanzo and with the help of Cassia, they're dominating the shrine in terms of skeleton count. Now Kwong completely out of position. Is he going to be able to survive for now? Already on the chase are Uther and Malthael.
The Moonfires were good, but not good enough. Down he goes with the health bars of the One. Dropped severely low here, and Sonya was just given a lot of freedom. 33 to 21, but the numbers advantage beginning to come into effect. It's putting a lot of pressure on TY, who is no longer existing. As Sorry is also forced to retreat. Nice blind fend as well, allowing Meng to drop a good amount of damage. As Fei also trying to sneak in the last three. He goes down two. ZJZ might actually die to these if he's not careful, but he is going to survive. Heals up another member, and as such, it's going to be the One grabbing 2 kills and being able to take the objective. Sorry, 3 kills because they got Kong as well.
Yeah, Sonya was committed there at that point. She really tried to get those last 3 remaining skulls in there. She was not able to do so, and as such, Fei was falling as well. But beautiful micromanagement by Uncle G here, by the way, using a step towards Garrosh to evade the stun, only to run back towards safety then afterwards. So this is exactly how you dodge the combo of Garrosh. But yeah, questionable moves here by Soa, committing so hard to the shrine after losing members over and over again. I think teams in Europe, for example, or Korea, they would have backed down super early, try to get value elsewhere, just make sure that no one else dies so they have a stronger or an easier time defending. But as it is, the tower line was gone, but the fort in the middle is still standing, albeit at 50% health.
Not choosing to throw any of the members onto his team there. They were busy finding a mercenary camp. He didn't know how many members were there. They probably would have won because they had everyone there, and Sonya was in top lane, but still not worth the risk if you don't have the knowledge.
Sonya now trying to make up for her crimes earlier, trying to get a little bit of experience back here from the towers, but Hugo is on the chase. And Tetra, we mentioned this, right? Malthael is one of the few heroes who can have an easy time against the Sonya if he dodges the spears, which Hugo did. And yeah, it's just not a good time for Fei at the moment.
And as such, Fei is driven back in lane a bit, and Zoa continue to struggle. Almost a level and a half behind right now. Just holding themselves in this game as best they can. With the Mercenary Camp, they're able to do stuff, but those are so insignificant on this map, especially the Impalers, unless you get a lot of them.
We've seen that one before. TY gets caught completely off guard, and that means that the 3-man surround by the One, once again initiated by he, who was absolutely out of control in this series, is making sure that the Gul'dan has having no value up to this point. So Gul'dan, just like in game number 1, struggles a little bit. But if TY does it like the one did before, like Lucky did before, he can come back with godlike fortifies in the mid-late game.
Which he will have pretty soon, only a level away, but it's not going to be helpful if he dies. Cassia keeps the ball lightning between her and Tigers the entire time, dropping the maximum damage. And I don't know why I just doubt any hero that Meng plays, because it's always a terrible choice to doubt it.
It's just amazing. The way TheOne played this was the most perfect dive you could possibly hope for. Garrosh going in first, so he would tank the fort shots because he is the tankiest of them all on the side of TheOne. And then using the ball lightning against a single target that couldn't escape it. And when Hanzo was using natural agility, Cassie was actually diving right behind him to keep the distance close for the lightning ball to bounce back and forth once more. So using the mobility to counter the enemy hero's mobility, that was so well played by Meng. I can't begin to praise this guy enough.
And Malthael has been controlling everything else on the map. Even now he sees, where has the rest of Soa been? Well, they've been doing a Fallen Shaman camp and they've just finished it. What's my reaction to this? Oh, well, that's probably going to get to my base about the time I would finish my Fallen Shaman camp, so I'll head there. Exactly what he needed to do. Great damage control, great control of the rest of the map. His team was able to pull back from the push they were doing even without him, so that was beautiful.
10 is finally here now for Team Soa. They've got Tranquility, the Odin, Horrify, and of course the Army of the Dead at their disposal. Now, how early is TheOne trying to commit this? Hugo spends a long time at the top lane, but of course he has the Pale Mount, the Pale Horse, which allows him to rotate faster than any other hero while mounted. He's already on his way. He's already coming.
Divine Shield having to be used on Garrosh here, having to fight a person down there without that level 13 yet. They didn't really soak it up at here, so they have just kind of given this up.
Yeah, and TheOne are doing what Soa didn't before, right? They're evacuating the spot. They were like, okay, we can't really get this anymore. Too strong of an advantage was there for Soa. So they're trying to get value elsewhere in the meantime. They're trying to get that top fort. They're trying to build up a little bit more pressure in the middle there as well, preemptively. And he can easily tank for that, right? He baits it over the wall, takes the Howling Blast, doesn't even feel it. And here goes the defense with the combined effort of Hanzo and Meng on the Cassia. That should be an easy clear. They're actually going for a re-engage maneuver here. Look at the flank.
There's the blind ball lightning, lots of damage. He able to be healed up. Fei is not. 2 kills, 3 kills, and make it 4. Why not? As Klog will get taken down by a somersaulting Hanzo. The only reason they can't kill Gul'dan is because he's not here, and TheOne just pick up, just remove any hope that the Soa had of a comeback in this stage of the game.
Excuse me, Tetcher, what was that? TheOne is just on a different level here right now. I thought this game, or this series even, would be a constant back and forth, clashing in and out here, but the perfect communication here was just insane. Look at that. The 2-man toss, the double stun into the Tychus there once more. The ball lightning getting infinite value without even being infinite after level 20 or before level 20. So this was just, everything was clicking, right? The call was made, He and Hugo arriving at the same time. Stun, stun, stun over and over again. The taunt was good as well. This is just TheOne on a different level.
And TheOne looking for even more pushing potential here, and they are getting it. The Team Palers easily able to take down the front wall. They're out of minions, unfortunately, so that it's unlikely they're going to be able to move in and grab this keep. These will be killed off eventually by the Poke Cooldown and Tychus. But while this is happening, bot lane is also under siege.
And this is something that TheOne have been doing consistently in this game number 2. They're always trying to get maximum value, combining the mercenaries to the best of their abilities, causing as much confusion as distraction as possible. Arthas gets even flung to the backline. They don't care. You know what? You're supposed to be the main tank. We're still going to take you down with Hanzo reducing your armor, with the taunt preventing you from taking any healing from the ghouls. It's just like another squishy backline here at this point. And 4 levels, Tetcher. That is the lead right now. What is happening?
I do not know, but I appear to be having some technical issues.
Okay, so for me it's all running smoothly, so I'm just going to take over until you're back. So the middle keep under heavy siege. Is there anything that Soa can do to save it? The fear is good, heading 4 members, spreading them in all different directions, but the heal, the self-sustain from He is huge. The Divine Shield didn't have to be used in the entire team fight. Time for them to run away, only to re-engage onto TY. The tormented souls is tearing through his limbs. There goes Meng finishing the deal. Double kill, triple kill very shortly. And that could very well be the nail in the coffin. Although Uther is not the best sustained healer. Although their health bars are a little low here. Do they have enough punching power to pound on that core?
Looking like it. Timers are pretty high. Reasonably high for a core attempt. It's going to be very much up to Arthas. He was so low during that fight, but was able to turn around and recover it. Just with a good old toss of his ally and being able to use his abilities before, to get that taunt before Sonya was able to kill him. Dragonarrow does win. Core, not the Arthas. Hit the core, 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 hit the core. Thank you. As the core goes down.
They were just having a little bit of fun there at the enemy's base. It was all warm and cozy. They really enjoyed their time there, and as such, TheOne working a little bit on their KDA before finishing the game and sealing the deal here. Well played by them. Fantastic performance. I never thought this series would be over so quickly. We tried to build up a little bit of hype before it started, but then TheOne decided to ruin our day. But well deserved. Yeah. I mean, that was probably one of the best performances I've ever seen from them. And as such, well-earned, a rightfully earned victory.
I would agree. TheOne looked super, super good today. I was very impressed by them. And Soa, unfortunately, they're going to be a little bit further down. They're going to drop further down in the rankings here. Once again, they're going to have to recover to try and attempt to get to the stage they were last phase, if they want any chance of going to mid-season brawl.
Yeah, that is very true. That should definitely be their next step. Otherwise, even teams like Beyond the Game, who are proving to be quite hungry at the moment, could try to overtake them once more. But on the bright side, good news are on the horizon for Soa. Now having faced CE, SBT, and TheOne in a row, there's going to be some more easygoing opponents coming up next. Teams like Sunny Lion, teams like RPG potentially. Maybe those are going to be some save points for them to bank on in the future.
Yeah,
for now,
I mean,
literally
in order. Their next matchups are for Soa. Not exactly in order, but their next matches are Sunny Lion. Actually, no, exactly in order. Sunny Lion, RPG, and then KT. In order, their next three matches.
Nailed it. I didn't even know the schedule, but that's cool to hear. That's definitely going to cheer up Soa a little bit because they can definitely bank on getting points there. By the same token, I think they can also use all this experience they've gained playing against CE, playing against SPT, playing against TheOne, and work on things that didn't go so well for them. So they can take a look at the first replays, for example, and be like, we played really well in the early mid game, but what were the mistakes in the late game? How did we throw away the victory that we almost had safely in our hands, right? And for game number 2, they can basically analyze the drafting and the team fighting behavior and be like, maybe Garage should be a ban priority now against Hehe. Maybe we should have picked it ourselves. But, man, Hehe, I think he's a strong candidate for becoming the game's MVP, isn't he?
Yes, absolutely. Game and series MVP from how he performed. May I ask what your timer is on quickly? Because that was the technical issue I had during the end bit there.
Absolutely. I'm still sitting at 6.2, 6.4, something along those lines.
Okay, I'm currently at 7, and I can't seem to get lower. 7.4.
Okay, let me see if I can get all the way up there. But refreshing probably led to it becoming even faster than before. Holy moly, I'm sitting at 3.7 right now. German internet, what are you doing?
I ain't getting there. I am not getting to there.
You can talk us through these statistics, though, while I'm trying to fix my synchrony with you.
That is all good. TheOne only giving away 1 single kill and 1 single fort that entire game, and that really does tell the story. They were in such dominant positioning. The XP down the bottom, I believe their bottom one is XP in terms of the stats there. They had almost double. That shows how much it was. The comeback XP, not able to save Soa there at all.
Yeah. They were certainly trying to do exactly that, but in the end, it was too little too late. I'm sitting at 7.4 right now.
That's exactly what I'm on.
Woo! Did it?
Yeah! Boom!
Nailed it.
No more tech issues, please stream, because that's possibly the closest we've ever been.
We could probably demand a raise now from Blizzard, because our clean feed game is achieving another level. We're leveling up here.